You know what's funny is when I started this podcast, I thought the hardest part was going to be actually doing the goals. And it turns out the hardest part was trying to figure out the best way to measure my progress without beating myself up when I had failures of any kind. And so that's what today's episode is about. It's not going to contain my traditional weekly check in. It's more of an update on where I am after one full month of trying to live this out. So, welcome to 1 Year No Excuses. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been listening since episode number 1, this is one of those moments where things get a little bit clearer for me and hopefully for you too. So, I want to set the context a little bit for this episode. January taught me some pretty important things. It really wasn't about discipline, though it sort of was. It really wasn't about motivation, but it kind of was. And it really wasn't about having grit, though it kind of was. It was more about how I was talking to myself. So early on, I started rating my progress daily via my Blogger account. I would type a daily check-in. Did I read? Check. Did I pray? Check. Or actually, it was always a no check for that one. Did I eat right? Check. Did I miss something? I probably did. And what I realized pretty quickly is that when you expect perfection every single day, anything else starts to feel like failure, even when you're making real progress. So I might be changing how I'm measuring my progress. I don't know. Going to do a little experiment for my written blog. Instead of a daily check-in or getting daily check marks, I'm going to try doing a weekly reflection instead of individual moments. After all, that's how this weekly podcast is set up. It's a weekly reflection, so it doesn't sound as harsh when I see a bunch of no's for one day, but knowing that I made progress across the week might feel more honest. I don't know. Maybe it'll feel a little bit more sustainable. So today I want to talk you through January as a whole. So let's start with the faith category. Faith involved my Bible reading and my prayer time. And for Bible reading, I'm genuinely proud of this one. I committed to daily Bible reading using a Read Your Bible in a Year app, and I'm doing it in the order of events. So as of January 31st, I'm all caught up. I completed every reading for the month of January, and I read almost every day. There were some days I had to do some catch up, but in January, I completed the books of Genesis and Job, and I've gotten started in Exodus. And I want to pause here for just a second, and this is not me bragging. I just want to say consistency doesn't always feel dramatic. Some days it feels meaningful. Other days it feels routine. And then some days it just feels rushed, just you can get it done. But what surprised me is how quietly it began to shape my mindset. Wasn't anything flashy. It just became a steady thing, it's a habit I've begun to form, and I'm quite proud of that. With intentional prayer, that was the other aspect of my faith category, but this is, I guess, where honesty is going to matter. I kept promising honesty, so I just simply didn't do it at all. I didn't dedicate myself. I didn't dedicate any time in January to meaningful private prayer. It wasn't because I forgot. I just avoided it. And I kept telling myself I'll do it later. I'll make it more structured next week. I'll start tomorrow. And before I knew it, January was over. So instead of beating myself up, I think I'm asking a different question. Why was it harder for me than reading or anything else I had to do? And that's something I'm going to be pondering over for the next few weeks. I want to try to, I'll probably talk more about it in future episodes, but I'm not sure why I keep avoiding prayer. It's kind of weird. Under my focus section, I had the carnivore diet, reading a book each month, and I'll see it. Carnivore, read a book. I don't remember the third one. It'll come to me. But on the carnivore diet, overall, January was a big win. I'd say I was roughly 90 to 95% strict carnivore. I did eat at restaurants 3, maybe 4 times during the month of January. But even then, I tried to stick with protein and fat only. I didn't have any sides. I never ate dessert. I didn't have any just this once spirals, but there were sauces on, like I'd get chicken wings and there might be some buffalo sauce in it. And I can't control what ingredients are contained in that sauce. But I did also frequently eat dill pickles because I love them. I love some cucumbers and vinegar with a little bit of pepper splashed on it. But in my defense, they're virtually zero carb. So while not carnivore, it was still keto friendly. There was a key shift for me. I didn't use small deviations as an excuse to quit. But physically, I feel really good. I'm beginning to think more clearly. My energy feels more stable. I'm not perfect, but I am better. I'm feeling better. And my partner tells me that I'm sleeping better. And here's the good part. I'm snoring less. So that's a win. Exercise. This really wasn't even part of my original plan for 2026, but I added it after I had originally announced my goals. And it's not officially a goal, but it just kind of makes sense. If I'm focusing on my health this year, then movement has to be part of that picture. So I'm keeping it simple. So I'm just a couple of things I'm working on right now is I'm rebounding almost daily for, 15 to 20 minutes. I'm doing sit-ups and squats roughly 3 to 4 times a week. And then when the weather is cooperative, I go walking at the local track. It's not anything fancy. I don't have any gym memberships. I'm not doing any kind of crazy extreme routines. It's just simple movement now. And look, movement doesn't have to be intense to be meaningful. I mean, you've got your hardcore fitness people out there saying that walking's no good. Well, I tend to disagree. I think walking is a heck of a whole lot better than sitting on my butt on the couch watching TV. But it doesn't have to be intense to be meaningful, especially when you're just getting started. It just has to be consistent enough to show up in your life. For reading, I did finish my first book of the year. The book was titled The Best Beer Run Ever. It was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. It kept my attention all the way through, and I learned some new terminology. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I remember it, but it was interesting to learn some new terminology. And I walked away with a deeper appreciation for the men and women who served in Vietnam, along with I got a healthy dose of skepticism about our leadership and the decision-making at the time. They don't tell us everything. They can say they're transparent all day long, but they never are. But anyway, I'm checking off that first book, and that feels pretty good. And it wasn't just a check mark. It reminded me that making time to read is still possible, even with everything else going on. You'd think I'd be able to also make time for prayer. So now I'm wondering if there's something deeper that's subconsciously keeping me from talking to God. Yeah, I need to put some thought into that. Oh, creation. That was my other one. I'm learning a new skill in 2026. You've heard me talk about it before, but I'm getting more involved in it, and I'm enjoying it. This is an area that I'm genuinely excited about. So I've been studying and experimenting with various AI use cases, artificial intelligence. I'm doing it both for my own personal work, my personal life, and with an eye toward helping everyday people understand how this stuff can actually help them. So I've enrolled in an IBM AI engineering certification. I'm taking it through Coursera, and I'm almost through the first of 16 required classes. I don't know yet if I'm interested in becoming an AI developer of any kind. Maybe I will somewhere down the road, but for now, it's more about simply becoming useful. That leads me into something I kind of want to tease here for a minute. I am going to attempt to do a mini-series somewhere down the road. I'll be breaking down practical AI use cases. It won't have any tech hype, no industry jargon, just real ways that average people can use these tools to save time. Maybe to think a little bit better, to help with decision-making, reduce friction, that kind of thing. Just manage their personal lives. I'm hoping to get that series done maybe sometime in May, possibly June. It's going to be a busy few months ahead, but it's a big one. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm thinking 4 to 5 episodes, and each one will contain a different use case. Now, to my podcast, I have recorded 5 episodes this year, but you've only heard 2 of them because I've only uploaded 2 of them to podcast and YouTube. Now, the remaining 3 are recorded, and they're currently being edited. So behind the scenes, I've spent way more time than expected trying to dial into a sustainable workflow because right now it's all over the place. Recording, editing, thumbnails, creating thumbnails, writing descriptions, trying to pull out clips. And I still haven't gotten good at pulling out clips. So that's something I need to work on. But it's still very much a work in progress. I am very much a rookie podcaster and I'm learning as I go. I'm really teaching myself. But I didn't stall when it wasn't perfect. I'm publishing them anyway. And that alone makes me happy. So I think I have a little bit of a shift in perspective after January when I look back over January, but what did January really teach me? That daily perfection might be a terrible motivator. It could be a good one. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to experiment with changing how I record my progress. We'll see how it goes. But it felt, doing a daily check-in on my blog kind of felt, I don't know how to describe it. I just didn't look forward to doing it because I knew there were going to be no's on a lot of days. And when I see a no, I feel like I didn't do something. I didn't make progress. And that bothered me a little bit. But I think progress might look better when it's viewed over time. I know momentum builds when shame is removed and consistency thrives when expectations are realistic. Not going to lie, I stole that from an article. Not an article. I put all my thoughts into AI. All the things I want to talk about, my checklist, where I'm at mentally and all that kind of stuff. And I do use AI. This is just one of the use cases, but I use AI to help me build my notes for my podcast. And so those last three statements, I tend to put the things in my own word. I just use AI to give me a starting point. But those last three statements I made, let me back these notes up. Progress looks better when viewed over time. Momentum builds when shame is removed, and consistency thrives when expectations are realistic. I liked that. So I kept it. I kept it in my notes. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't want to take credit for anything I didn't do. But so this podcast is not about pretending everything's working flawlessly because clearly it's not. But it's about showing up and adjusting when something isn't serving my goal. Now, next week, I will be leaving to go to Iceland. I won a trip from my company, all expenses paid with a little bit of money to spend for, I believe, let me see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. We'll be there. We're leaving Wednesday. We'll get there Thursday morning. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days. We'll be there for 5 days. But I'm looking forward to that. I will be sharing some pics and maybe some video from my trip to Iceland in an upcoming episode. And I promise it's not going to turn into a travel blog because I don't travel enough to have a travel vlog. But it's just going to be a simple reflection. I'll keep it short. But I will talk about why experiences like that kind of matter when you're trying to reshape your life, getting a taste of other cultures outside the United States. Secondly, the AI mini-series that I mentioned a little bit earlier. I think I mentioned already that I'm targeting May, probably June, but I'm really looking forward to doing that. And finally, I've got a guest lined up. It's a professor of psychology at our local college, and she's going to join me in a few weeks. We're going to talk about accountability and motivation. Does accountability actually help? Can it backfire? When is it motivating? And when does it quietly create pressure that leads to setbacks? Given everything I'm learning firsthand, that conversation feels perfectly timed. So she will be with me. She'll join me in March, and I'll probably get that episode published late March, early April. So in closing, if January has proved anything to me, progress does not require perfection. It does require honesty, adjustments, and persistence or consistency. So if you're listening and you felt discouraged because you missed a day or a week or a goal entirely, you're not behind. You're learning, and learning counts for something. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.